everyone, welcome to EduStar video session. This is class 12 chemistry and you are with me in the part 4 of the unit electrochemistry. In the previous class itself we have discussed about molar conductivity. Now we have to see some details about the molar conductivity. Molar conductivity is the concentration of ions under potential gradient, right? The molar conductivity formula is lambda m is equal to kappa divided by C. The C is nothing but the concentration expressed in molarity. So the formula is kappa into 1000 divided by molarity. The unit will be Siemens centimeter square per mole. Now we have to see about how the molar conductivity vary with respect to concentration. See, this is the formula. Molar conductivity is equal to kappa into A divided by L. This A is the area where the electrolyte get filled, right? In the denominator there is the L. This is length. This is the length of the electrode, right? Now at instant L is equal to 1 unity and A is the area is the volume. Then what happens? Molar conductivity is equal to kappa into volume. Now I am going to increase the volume. How I can increase the volume? By adding more water to the electrolyte. Adding more water to the electrolyte means that is dilution, right? Here I am reading this. Molar conductivity increases with the decrease in concentration. This decrease in concentration just to talk about the dilution factors. Okay, so if we add more water, then the volume will be considerably huge. That is referred here, right? On increasing dilution, the molar conductivity increases. At a particular stage, it will become 0. That is called as the limiting molar conductivity. So, we are increasing the volume by adding water to it. Addition of water is referred to as dilution. If we continue the dilution for a long time, on prolonged dilution, this molar conductivity reaches a value of 0. At that particular 0 value, the molar conductivity is said to be limiting molar conductivity. It is indicated by lambda m0. So lambda m is the molar conductivity, limiting molar conductivity is lambda m0, right? Now, there are two kinds of electrolyte, right? One is strong electrolyte and another one is weak electrolyte. We have to discuss both of these things with respect to the fact that the dilution is increased, right? Now seeing the strong electrolyte at lambda m is equal to 0. I am plotting a graph between lambda m, that is molar conductivity, and a concentration C half. I am getting a straight line. The equation is lambda m is equal to lambda m naught minus AC square. This equation can be compared with that of the straight line equation y is equal to C minus mx. Here the slope is negative slope, right? The straight line itself thing which is giving the negative slope. So A is the negative slope and the intercept, what is the intercept? The limiting molar conductivity is the intercept. So consider here in the graph on increasing the dilution. Okay, so the concentration get decreased. So on increasing dilution, I am going in this manner. At one point, the molar conductivity will become 0. That means it is intersecting the y-axis, or we can say the straight line get extrapolated to the y-axis in order to make the molar conductivity to 0. The molar conductivity at 0 means limiting molar conductivity, which is nothing but our lambda m0. Understand this concept clearly? So we have to proceed with the some problems and some other things. Now the value of constant A. What is the constant A? This is the slope. It depends on two things. One is temperature and another one is nature of electrolyte. Right? This molar conductivity, that is limiting molar conductivity, is almost same for electrolyte which have common ions in it. This was enunciated by the Kohlraasch. See here, this is the limiting molar conductivity of KCl and minus NaCl. So it have a common ions of Cl, right? Similarly here the Br is a common ion and here iodine is a common ions. So all these have some sort of common ions in it. All these limiting molar conductivity is approximately the same value. So this was observed by Kohlraasch. So Kohlraasch say that the limiting molar conductivity is equal to the molar conductivity of cations plus molar conductivity of anions. So cations is positive charges and anions are negative charges, right? So the limiting molar conductivity for NaCl, it can be written as instant molar conductivity of Na plus and molar conductivity of Cl minus. Now coming to limiting molar conductivity of water, we can write this in terms of 3 or more electrolytes. Here how we have to write this? This HCl is taken first. So H plus ions, Cl minus ions, plus we have to take plus NaOH, Na plus OH minus, minus NaCl. It means plus Cl minus Cl get cancelled, plus Na minus Na get cancelled. The remaining thing is H plus and OH minus ions. Okay. Very simple problem. Nothing is going to work out in this problem. They have given the molar conductivity and they have also given the concentration. Since we are going to draw a graph between the molar conductivity and the CH, we have just taken out the square root of this concentration. So this is achieved by taking the square root of this above concentration. Now just drawing a small graph between the molar conductivity and the CH, we have getting a straight line. The intercept is nothing but the limiting molar conductivity, right? So it is just above 150. So the limiting molar conductivity is 150. So by the graph we have find out the limiting molar conductivity. This is a simple problem by using a graph. Now we are going to move with the weak electrolytes. In the weak electrolytes also we are going to increase the dilution, right? On increasing dilution, what happens? Generally, a weak electrolyte. What is a weak electrolyte? A weak electrolyte is a substance which won't dissociate completely into ions. That is it, or in other words, we can say it is partially dissociated into ions. So, on best example for weak electrolyte, we will be all saying that acetic acid, CH3COOH. Remember, for a weak electrolyte at a high concentration, the degree of dissociation, what is the degree of dissociation? Alpha. Alpha will be small at a high concentration. While we increase the dilution, means that is the volume get increased, considerably increased. For this, the degree of dissociation get increased. At infinite dilution means which we can't achieve very easily. After complete infinite dilution, alpha will become 1. At any concentration, what is this meaning? While the dissociation happens at a particular instant of time, the alpha is equal to molar conductivity divided by limiting molar conductivity. Okay, this is the formula you have to remember for a weak electrolyte. Now this is the graph for the weak electrolyte. We have drawn a graph between the same CH and the molar conductivity. How this graph is there? on decreasing concentration or the increasing dilution, the molar conductivity just increase and increase on. At infinite dilution also it won't touch or extrapolate with the top of the x-axis. That is, the molar conductivity cannot be zero as we achieve in the case of the strong electrolyte. In strong electrolyte we have extrapolated the straight line into the y-axis, right? But in the case of weak electrolyte we can't achieve this, but this line will just go on increasing. This is the case in the weak electrolyte, right? Next, this is the thing how I have derived the dissociation constant. See, this is the acetic acid. In the acetic acid at a particular instant C half are dissociated or formed in the reaction. So C alpha acetate ions and C alpha of hydrogen ions are formed in the reaction. Ka is the dissociation constant. So how this dissociation constant can be expressed? The products of the product side, C alpha into C alpha divided by undissociated thing, that is C into what will be the undissociated form? 1 minus alpha is the undissociated form. So 1 minus alpha. On multiplying these things we get alpha square C square, C into 1 minus alpha. Now see this, the C and C get cancelled, we get a value for Ka. Now we are going to substitute this value for the alpha. We have say alpha is equal to lambda m divided by lambda m0, right? In this equation we have find out the alpha value. Lambda m is equal to lambda m0, right? This is applied in the Ka value. So alpha square means lambda m by lambda m naught square. Similarly 1 minus lambda m by lambda m naught. We have taken LCM here and this will be the factor, and then we will be putting the reciprocal and multiply these things. We will be getting the Ka value C lambda m square divided by lambda m naught into lambda m naught minus lambda m. If you want to have a clear look on this picture, just pass down the video and just understand the steps. It is all the simple numerical steps. You will be able to understand it. Okay, now I'm going to move to the next one. Yes, for the weak electrolyte I have put a problem. They have given the conductivity. What is the conductivity? That is kappa. Kappa is given and the molarity is also given. So kappa is given, molar conductivity is given. If these things are given, we can find out the molar conductivity. So what is the molar conductivity formula? Lambda m is equal to kappa divided by C. So we will be finding these things just by supplying this value itself. We are getting the answer. Now they have asked you to find out the limiting molar conductivity. What is the limiting molar conductivity formula? Just now we have said alpha is equal to lambda m by lambda m naught, right? So this is the formula. Alpha is equal to lambda m by lambda m naught. So lambda m we have just find it out here, right? This is the lambda m divided by lambda m naught. They have given in the problem. We are getting the alpha. Now they are asked you to find the dissociation constant. What is the dissociation constant? Ka. Ka formula we have just now we have derived in the written content, right? That is C alpha square into 1 minus alpha. So on supplying all these value I am getting the answer of dissociation constant, right? Now this is another one problem. Limiting molar conductivity of NaCl, HCl and sodium acetate. They have given some values for this limiting molar conductivity of these particular electrolytes are given, and they are asked you to find the limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid. We have to write the acetic acid in terms all the other ions should get cancelled. Look at this. First they have given this is the thing. First they have written the HCl, right? First they have written the HCl, H plus Cl minus. Secondly they have written the sodium acetate. Acetate ions and sodium ions minus they have written the NaCl. Now we can cancel all the terms. Plus Cl minus Cl. Sodium ions. Here the sodium ions. Remaining thing is H plus and acetate ion. So these things is the sodium acetate ions. So just we have added the things, right? First we have added HCl. So the HCl value is put in the equation, and then sodium acetate minus NaCl. So we get the answer 390.5. Just pass down the video and look at the things and then proceed to the next content. Now we are going to talk about the electroplating. What is electroplating? It is a method for purification of metals, or it can also be used for coating a precious metal over a base metal. Base metals like iron, copper and brass are coated by gold, silver or any other thing, right? This is the electroplating. Here the thing which is to be deposited, or the metal will be deposited at the cathode. Always remember, metal will be deposited at the cathode and the anode will be reduced, or the anode will deplete in its composition. After, on supplying electricity only, this reactions will happen. This electrolytic reaction will happen by on supplying some electricity. So cathode get deposited. The amount of copper, here I have taken copper sulfate, so the metal is going to be deposited is only the copper. The amount of copper deposited, that is M. The weight, or we can say the weight of copper deposited at the cathode is just proportional to the amount of electricity passed to the electrolyte for a particular time. This is a Q. This is said by the Faraday first law, right? M is proportional to Q. What is the Q? Q is the amount of electricity supplied to the electrolytic solution for a particular instant of time. This is Faraday's first law. Now I am going to say about the second law. What is the second law says? Suppose I am giving electricity to 3 or 4 electrolytes, means those electrolytes will deposit different amount of substance in their electrolytes. Those substance is actually proportional to their equivalent, electrochemical equivalent, which can also be said as the amount of electrons required for the reduction. Here in the cathode reduction is happening, right? So this is the electrons needed for the reduction is proportional to the mass of the substance deposited at the electrode. This is said by the Faraday's second law of electrolysis. Now the Faraday's first law is given as Q is equal to I. I is the current given in amperes and T is the time given measured in seconds, right? Now mass is proportional to Q. Q can be written as I into T. So M is proportional to I into T. This is Faraday's first law. Now this Faraday's second law, look at this reaction, magnesium ions giving magnesium and aluminium ions giving aluminium. So these two are the reduction reactions happening at the cathode. For magnesium ions to reduce 2 moles of electrons are needed. For aluminium to get reduced, 3 moles of electrons are reduced. Depending upon this amount or mole of electrons, the mass of the substance is also will be present in the ratio with the synchronizing to it, right? Now I am going to say about the product of electrolysis. What is electrolysis? The electrochemical reaction just happening, right? Here in the previous video itself I have said that which can be kept as anode and which can be kept as cathode, and those tricks and all we have discussed. But generally a electrochemical reaction, even though they are feasible, that is they may be occurred, some of the reactions may occur very slowly. So the slowly we say it is kinetically. If it happens to occur at very slow manner, then we should have to supply over potential in order to make the reactions to occur. Now we are also going to see if there is a choice of electrode reactions, which electrode reactions will occur fast and which electrode reactions will occur slow. Like that also we are going to see. Now listen carefully. See, this is a reaction, that is the electrolysis of sodium chloride in the presence of water. We are getting sodium ions and chlorine ions. At the cathode reactions, the sodium ions added with that of the electron and give sodium. This is one reaction occurring at the cathode. There is also another possibility. See, in water H plus ions are there. So this H plus ions may add with the electron to give half hydrogen. So there are two sets of reactions which are possible to occur in the cathode. One of the electrode potential is minus 2.71 and one of the electrode potential is 0. At the cathode, we have to always prefer higher value. For the cathode, higher value of electrode potential is preferred. Already we have seen in the previous video, the one which have higher electrode potential is tend to occur at cathode. So normally here the hydrogen will act as the cathodic reaction. So I have written this equation. One is chlorine giving chloride ions giving chlorine, and another one is water giving hydrogen ions. Here the anode reaction with having lower value of electrode potential is preferred. Which is having the lower electrode potential 1.23 volt is actually the lower electrode potential. So this should be preferred. But what happens, we are making this chlorine ion into a feasible one by supplying a over potential. So if a reaction is tend to be kinetically slow, then we are making it possible by supplying a over potential. In this manner we are choosing the chlorine to be happen as the anode reaction. So the anode reaction is given and the cathode reaction we have find it just now, and the net reaction have to be written. That is, adding the cathode and anode we will be getting the net reaction. How we can get this reaction? Just cut it down the common things present in both the reactant and the product side. I think nothing will be get cancelled in here except the electron. So after the cancelling this electron, everything can be written as it is. We are getting the equation like this. This is the product of electrolysis. Why we are talking about this product of electrolysis means this is a thing we are going to apply in case of batteries, which will be discussed in your future sessions. With this I am finishing my session. Have a nice day. Thank you.